Okay, this is going to be hopefully a quick video on the differences between Rhumb line distances and claimed Great Circle route distances. I'm going to just show here how the Great Circle route distances are exactly as I said in the past. They're just the hijacking of two corresponding longitude lines. They're purely a straight line distance, and that's it. There's nothing, but they're limited, and I'll show why. So just before I show that, 1 second. Okay, I will be linking this video. Sorry about that. This video here in the description. Watch this video at your leisure. This will bring you through it. I have more information than that on it, on this, but I'm not going to throw in loads of information. Just that video. Watch that, and you'll get a gist of it. There's a lot of people, even in the comments of this video, not understanding what's actually going on, right? This is a good video. It's only like just over 9 minutes, and there's from watching this, there'll be other videos like down here where they go into other. There'll be other videos linked that are covering the same topic, but this one is a really easy to understand video, but they don't understand what it is that they're actually showing. Right? I'll show in a minute. It's very basic, actually. I'll give the basic of it. I'm not going to go playing the video or any other nonsense. You can watch the video at your leisure, and I'm going to withhold other information I have because I want the ballers to start talking rubbish, basically, which they will do, no doubt about it. Okay, so here is a little, this is Debunking, actually, if you know who Debunking is. This is from him. He created this, which is a handy little flat out map thing. I'm going to show here the difference between the two. Okay, so two is here and a tape line, right? So I'm going to take this green line, right, and I'm going to start at let's just say I'll start here and I'll finish there, right? I'll make the line just a bit bigger, a bit thicker, right, so you can see, and I'll make it a different color because it's a bit, make it blue. Okay, so if a plane traveled, right, or if a plane traveled, say from there to there, so this is point A, point B, right, then they would, the pilot and whatever, the aviation company, would be able to use what they claim to be a great circle distance, right? Great circle route distance. But that's only because if I just make this longer, just from here right through to there, right? That's only because these two longitude lines here, right? The two of those, right, in length match one great circle route, right? Because that's what a great circle route is. It's a hijacking of two corresponding longitude lines. So when a plane is flying from, let's say, somewhere here to, let's say, to Madagascar here, from the Middle East, let's say, I don't know, anywhere in the Middle East to the Madagascar, if the two locations are basically on the same longitude, then the plane can fly a great circle route, right? But now it won't be flying a circle, but it'll only be a straight line. But the distance, they can use a great circle route distance, right? So I'm just going to get another line. But if another plane was flying from here, right, over to here, let's just say, right? Or let's just go this way, right? Over to there, let's say Mexico City or somewhere like that, right? From the Middle East to Mexico City, and I'll make that one a different color. I'll make that one red, right? That would be a Rhumb line distance. They wouldn't be using a great circle route distance there, right? So why don't they use the great circle route distances with things like with a Rhumb line? Why? What's the difference between the two? A Rhumb line distance. See, this is the problem. Great circle route distances can only be used if they were going, let's say, on that route. I think that route would be suitable. From here in the Middle East, could be like Doha or somewhere to Mexico City or something, or Juarez, right, in Mexico. right? That they could only use the great circle route distances over a very short portion of this distance, because once they're using any big distances at all, they must use great Rhumb line distances, because great circle route distances don't match them. The reason they don't match is because great circle route distances only match north-south, south-north, longitudinal distances. So when you're not adhering to longitudinal distances, the great circle route distances don't work. And most flights won't be direct north-south, south-north if you're going from one location to another. So there's a lot of back calculation that has to take place for them to then claim great circle routes afterwards. But it's nonsense, because the pilot is flying a Rhumb line distance, and the Rhumb line's distance is always a straight distance. So is a claimed great circle route distance. It's just they think it's a curve. And another thing, for our opposition, a curved line, right? Let's say a great circle route distance on a sphere is not a straight line. It's a non-deviating curved line, not a straight line. Curved lines and straight lines are geometrically different, right? There's just sort of people out there who seem to not be able to understand basic things like that. Either way, the point being is that a great circle route distance, a claimed great circle route distance, can only be used over majority of the time over very short distances. Because once the distance gets any way great at all, let's just say they could go from Doha here to, let's say, Stockholm, and maybe they could use a great circle route distance up to a point there. But once it goes to, let's say, they end up at Greenland, they couldn't use a great circle route distance simply because it doesn't match reality. That's why they have Rhumb line distances. Now, there's a lot of back nonsense goes on with the Mercator projection and stuff with Rhumb line distances and great circle route distances. But the point being is that once they need to fly any distance at all, they can't use great circle route distances. Unless they're directly north-south or south-north, right? Then they can use them, but they can't use them other than that. Why not? They should be able to use them at all times, right? You would think they'd be able to use a great circle route distance at all times, because it wouldn't matter if this is, let's just say, this line, this distance here is, we'll just say, for ease of explanation, let's say left of what would be the globe's North Pole, then that would make it right of the globe's South Pole as a great circle. Why can't they just do that? They can't, because there is no South Pole. There is no globe. They can't do that. They must use Rhumb line distances for any distance at all. And this is the problem they have. So when our oppositions are talking about great circle route distances, for a start, show evidence that great circle route distances are circles. Number one, that's the first thing you're going to have to do, because you're begging the question. I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm not going to tolerate begging the question. That's not tolerable. Number one. Number two is show them if we're on a globe, then it'd have to happen in all directions. Because if we're on a globe, see, this is another thing. Our opposition are really, really ignorant. They don't understand. They think they can have an oblate spheroid, right? A geometric oblate spheroid, and still have great circle route distances. They can't. The great circle route distance is purely based off of the length of two longitude lines. So if you have an oblate spheroid, that means you're increasing the length of those longitude lines at all times at the equator, right? Number one. Number two is you're destroying the latitude and longitude grid, because the circles of latitude between those points will, or when you get towards the equator, won't match, and they won't match after the equator. And what will actually happen is the latitude and longitude grid wouldn't fit a globe. Yet the globe is back engineered from flat Earth measurements that gave us the latitude and longitude grid. So none of it works. This is some more information for our opposition, the ballers, as they don't seem to understand their own paradigm. The claim of an oblate spheroid comes directly from the pre-assumption that you're already on a perfect sphere that is rotating. So due to centrifugal force, the equator has stretched out, and the north, let's say the polar circumference has flattened out, right? It's purely a pre-assumption based off of the pre-assumption that there. It's purely based off of pre-assumption number one, we're on a globe, the assumption number 2, it's rotating. There was no geometric measurement for a globe and no geometric measurement for an oblate spheroid. These are purely, so if anyone wants to talk about oblate spheroid nonsense in the chat, it has nothing to do with Rhumb line distances. I don't care, right? Rhumb line distances, that wouldn't change anything, because if a great circle root distance was an oblate spheroid distance like this, then this Rhumb line distance would still be an oblate spheroid, and it could just be left the same distance, or right, let's say the same distance as it is left of the North Pole here. It won't make any difference. So claiming, oh well, they have to use Rhumb line distances because of it's an oblate spheroid. No, that means you're not after giving any of this proper thought, and you're just being an idiot, right? Because you can't claim the Earth is an oblate spheroid and then claim that this blue line is a circle, right? It means that the blue line must be following an oblate spheroid distances as well, which means there'd be no difference here, that or that. It wouldn't matter if you're not going north or south then. If you're going off over here, it wouldn't matter, because this you'd have just one second. Give me another line a second just to show. On the other end of the globe, you'd have this corresponding to that. The opposite, if that was the north, if this is the North Pole, South Pole, you'd have that. That'd be making the same distance. So none of that works. It's all nonsense. The Rhumb line distances. Why are you using Rhumb line distances? Partly because they're using the Universal Transverse Mercator map, but the main reason is, and Rhumb line distances are straight lines. So are great circle roots. They're just straight lines. They're not circles. But the point being is that they can't use great circle roots if they're not doing exactly north, south, south, north, because they're not dealing with longitudinal distances. And I've said this before to the borders, and they all try to argue with me. No, great circle root distances go in all directions. And I told them, no, they don't. These people are bozos. Anyway, the majority of plane flights, international flights, will be using Rhumb line distances. Why? Because the great circle root distances don't work unless they're flying directly along a longitude line. That's the only time they work. So, as an example, sorry. So Chicago, right? Its longitude is 87.6298 west, right? Biloxi in Mississippi is 88.88 west. So you could have a great circle root distance between Chicago and Biloxi, but between Chicago and Los Angeles, because Los Angeles is 118.26 degrees west, you can't. You have to use a Rhumb line. So just even in the United States, let's just click on any there. Just in the United States, you can go from here to here, which is directly north-south, Chicago there to Mississippi, or Biloxi down here. You can do that and claim a great circle root distance. But when you're going over here to South California, you can't, because you don't have one. They have to use a Rhumb line distance. Because if we were on a globe, they wouldn't need to. Everything would be a great circle root distance. And as I said, there's no point talking about there's no point telling me about oblate spheroid, because you don't even understand why they claim that, because they're bozos. And number two, if that's an oblate, if the red line is for an oblate spheroid, then the blue line has to be dealing with an oblate spheroid. So there's no difference. Everything is exactly the same. There's absolutely no difference. But they're not. They're not dealing with, there is no oblate spheroid, there is no sphere, there is no globe. It's flat. You just hijacked the validity of flat Earth measurements. That's all that happened. And it's proven once again by air travel. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video because I've said enough. And I'm sure I annoyed the borders enough too. Thanks for watching.